who fuck the Christians who telling him to go to hell because he gay. He basically saying, fuck y'all, suck my dick about the situation. Like, I'm going to be gay and I'm going to love being gay. And he was like, I know he was like, I'm going to love being in hell because you want me to go to hell so bad. Here I am. I'm in hell.
Okay. Miss Munoz, what's happening, my
yo,
dog?
what up, J Guns? Hey, you finally released that album? That's just dope, bro.
Yeah.
I got to copy it as soon as my check come in, my disability check, bro.
Yeah.
I was hearing that on YouTube right now, though, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's on YouTube.
That shit is fucking fire, dog.
I need to get some on my nose.
Just going back to the topic, I kind of agree with Miss. What's your name again?
Diana.
Diana. Yeah, see, like that's what I was trying to say earlier. I had heard that Nas X actually did this in retaliation to being criticized and demonized for being gay. So he, you know, that's what I heard.
When you a Christian, they be like, go to hell for doing this and that and that and that. But you saying
right.
Yeah, but like I agree with you to some degree.
That was also what I was trying to speak on too. But see, I wanted to get both. I wanted everybody's perspective. I wanted to take. I didn't want to play one-sided on this whole situation. I wanted to play devil's advocate because at the end of the day, you got to speak. You got to think about this. This is everybody's. This is people. This is the ideology that people are believing in right now. We have to understand that this is a new era. We're not living in the time where church was so enforceful in our communities and in our states where we live. So nowadays, people are given such a freedom to choose that the exposure of this sort of thing on that level, just like it took him to a whole other section of where people are like, they're recanting on these crazy values now. So now I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm gonna be honest with you. The whole concept in itself is fucking nuts. I get it. You want to say people, you want to tell people off about how, them, contradicting how you are or what you are. That's cool. But I think there was another way he could have done this that didn't reflect such a satanic ideology.
That's what I wanted to follow up with what you're saying.
Listen, I wanted to say where he coming though too, because like I'm not like straight. I'm bisexual, not even bisexual, pansexual. So I understand where he coming from because like. Is as growing up, like my family still don't even know that I like girls and like other things out there in the LGBT community. And then so not things, but you know what I mean. But like she don't get that I like something other than boys because I'm always talking about boys. Yeah. And then I don't want to tell her because she always be like just saying stuff at random moments about transgenders, about just like not being around people that's gay. She just be talking freely, and I just don't like that. So I'm just
I agree with you there.
Tell her because what's the point? I like boys more than I like girls, and I dated more boys than I ever did girls. But at the same time, it's like I'm not gonna tell her because she got this Christian mentality that's just like go to hell, fuck this, fuck that. Even though she agree with it, even though she watched us on TV, she still don't understand. Like she just, if you understood, you wouldn't say the certain things that come out your mouth.
Right.
When a gay person, we think a gay person is not around. So
what you have to also understand is,
if you really truly understood watching us, then you wouldn't say the things that you say. So I'm from Chicago.
Right.
And then wait, I got one more thing. And then the Christians, they be like, go to hell, fuck this, you doing this, you go to hell. It's Adam, it's Eve and Adam, whatever the fuck.
Not Adam and Steve.
Not Adam and Steve. Like the fuck, you can be whatever the fuck you want to be. How God know that y'all was gonna be gay? Why would He make a sense of gay, straight, all that in the mind? Like it came from God. Like everything made that so-called God. And I'm an atheist, so I understand like why He's saying like fuck the Christians, fuck this and fuck that. So it's like I'm proud to be an atheist because you giving us a higher being to like look up to, and it's just like, is it really true or is it something you telling us to get in our head like a fairy tale story, like the Tooth Fairy, like Santa, like shit like that?
Right.
Like, is it really like fucking a God out there? Or is it just a higher being to get us to obey a certain way? Like the government.
I agree with what Nolan just said. I agree also with what Nolan just said. It's a marketing thing. Because it's not just about. It's not just.
He's doing it for the LGBT community, though. That's what
but that's
where I wanted to put
that comes with a dual. But you got to think that comes with a dual responsibility. That comes with a dual responsibility.
Yeah.
You got that
that's
comes
where
with
I
a
wanted
dual
to come in right now,
responsibility too.
Mr. J, if I may. That was the other part of my argument. So I totally understand from the LGBTQ community what he meant by this. So some of the symbolism, but then you go into the marketing and then you go into the responsibility you have as an artist to what you're showing to children. So look, he became so famous with Old Town Road. So think about all the little kids that looked at him. And then he drops this album where he's objectifying the male figure, where he's over-sexualizing himself. Because that's for sale.
If you want to, if that's the way he wants to perceive himself.
But look, you could do whatever you want, but okay, can I finish though? Let me finish. You could do whatever you want as a human being and especially as an adult, but we don't live in a vacuum. We do not live in a vacuum. Okay? Nope. So you could go ahead and walk around with your ass hanging out if you want, but we don't live in a vacuum. That's my whole point.
We have, like, today, nowadays, anybody could dress, a girl could dress as a boy could dress as a girl. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
That's perfectly fine. I have nothing wrong with that.
He can't have his ass out in the video that he paid for, an outfit that he paid for, and the shoot that he paid for his own band.
Listen. I'm not even making that argument. That I'm trying to tell him not to. You see?
Right.
I'm not telling you. I'm not saying that I'm trying to tell him not to. What I'm saying is me as an adult.
Hey, is it true about Chicago? What's true about Chicago? What you gotta say about Chicago? I fucks with Chicago, though. Yeah, we cool.
The idea.
So that's my point. Like you're making a good point, and you're saying you could do whatever you want, but as a responsible human being, you're gonna sit there, and now you had all these little kids looking at you. Now they're gonna look at that video.
Exactly.
I mean, you think he didn't lose? You don't think he lost millions of fans because of that? Of course he did.
They wouldn't have followed them, and if they wouldn't have added him in the first place, if they was true fans, they would stay. If they didn't like his image when they first found out,
but hold on now, hold on. Before you go there, this is where we disagree at. Hold on, Diana. This is where we disagree at. This is where we disagree at. When he came out with Old Time Road first. Right?
He wasn't out yet.
Nobody knew that man was gay. Nobody knew that man was gay first. That's the first point. Nobody knew that man was gay. Even after he came out saying he was gay, they were okay with it. It was until he brought this concepted video and song to the table that people started to have something to say. Because thinking about this has really brought him over the top.
Now,
and not in a good way.
On the back of what you're saying, and me finishing my point of view, we did say I would agree that it's a marketing scheme. It's something that's going to sell because shock value is everything in society. If it has shock value, it's going to sell. So, let me finish though. Let me finish. I'm not done though. I'm not done. But what I'm also pointing at, and me because I follow the occult. I've always followed the occult. I understand the seriousness of some of this symbolism. And I've been in Hollywood. I used to sell when I was a drug dealer. I was rolling with the cartels, and all of my clientels were Hollywood. So I know the satanic Hollywood elite. I know the CEO elites are satanic, bro. I know they deal in human trafficking and all this. So that's my point. See, so you got to be responsible. So for him to just do it and put all this imagery, maybe he doesn't know what he's doing. Maybe he doesn't understand exactly what he's doing.
Every place has violence. So.
I'm not saying he's perpetuating danger. I'm saying you putting all these occult symbolism and not understanding the occult is very irresponsible of you. If you're doing it just to sell, that's very irresponsible.
There is a responsibility as a celebrity. Everyone that in the industry has a responsibility. If you're a public figure, you have a responsibility to not only being a major influence on the population of the children around you, but also the crowds that are around you. Everything.
And then if you're a true hip hopper, and you understand hip hop culture, you also have a responsibility to hip hop culture. Right. You could say you're a rapper and you're rapping off the back of a whole culture.
They make movies about New York, and not all that shit happened in New York. It's just a movie. They come up with it. They think about it. They based on real facts. Every Chicago movie is
who the hell is that?
Unless they saying this is a true story.
Who is John Gotti 74? Anybody know y'all? Y'all? Okay, well, he just requested to be in the lot.
John Gotti.
But nah, and like just like every movie is based on something somebody wrote. That's what Beast is about. Beast is something they wrote and it came up with. Beast is not a true story. They use true facts, but it's not a true story.
Yo, what's good, man? What's good?
What's happening? What's happening, man?
Hey,
so we having a conversation. We having a conversation about the Lil Nas X situation, and we're having a sort of a debate on your thoughts about it. What do you think is the situation with this Lil Nas X thing? What do you think about it?
Me being from the South. Me being from the South and just the way I grew up. Like,
right.
I grew up with my grandmother taking us to church all the time. You feel me? Like,
where you from?
I'm from Georgia.
Okay, Georgia. ATL and ATL.
Big up.
Nah, Columbus. South of Georgia.
Okay, shout out to South Georgia. Shit, I grew up in Atlanta, so I understand.
Yeah, you heard of Columbus then? We 90s
all day.
Oh, yeah.
All day in the Mara. Yeah. All day in the Mara. I had my ex is from Millersville.
Yeah, so you know what's going on, and just being in the South, that.
But like, okay, so you were saying you grew up in the church, and as a person that grew up in the church myself, I grew up in the Baptist church, so I understand exactly where you were going with that. The concept on the whole thing is right, but that's again a choice that you made.
And growing up, me growing up, I ain't because I saw that it's a lot of contradictions and stuff. Like, we all know the Bible's supposed to be the word of God, right?
Facts.
And if the word of God's supposed to be everlasting and changing, right?
Right.
It's getting too Christian-y, my guy.
Listen, just listen. Just listen.
Just listen. Yeah.
Listen, I'm coming to a point. But if the Bible's supposed to be the word of God, the word of God is everlasting and unchanging, how does the church have the right to come in and take books in and out and change the way things work?
Good point. Yeah. Good point. Now they contaminated that themselves. They did that upon themselves. But see, it's up to you. It's up to you to seek the truth, though, on that whole situation. Right. We know for a fact that the Catholic Church itself took out hundreds of books from the Bible itself. But also in these books, now mind you, in these books, they spoke about these things. They spoke about the things that they don't want us to talk about now, that are symbolisms of things that we're supposed to know about on this earth.
Check it out, yo. Like, I've always been into the occult. And look,
but hold on, watch this. Like I said, the Bible's supposed to be the word of God is unchanging, but the church took it around. And the church is what? Man, right? The church is man. And you change the word of God. So, like she said.
But that's the thing. How do you know who changing or who writing their own shit in there?
Let me get to my point. Man,
the story has changed so much.
Listen. Let me get to my point. Man has changed the Bible, and like I said, the Bible is the word of God. The word of God is supposed to be unchangeable. You feel me? Everlasting.
That's true.
Unchangeable and everlasting. If it was given to you by God, how do you have the right to change it?
You're not, and that's where they're wrong. You're not supposed to, and that's where they're wrong. Because in the book is the thing with that is what it is what I was gonna say to that is the whole thing about it is in the end of the book, it has a passage in it. The last passage in that book says, "Let nothing be taken from nor added to this book, lest you be damned your souls to the pits of fiery hell." So now this is just an honest statement speaking upon that situation, because they know what the fuck they did that was wrong. They might have made an agreement as a collective to say, nah, we don't think that this should be put into the book. But at the end of the day, the passage is clear. If you take something out of it or you add something to it, you have just committed yourself to the fiery pits of hell. This is honest speaking. But at the end of the day, they have gotten away with it for the years that they have, because yet and still we have these people were powerful people at one point. So their influence was so massive that they had no way, you had no way of overshooting that. There was no way you could have gotten around them saying, oh, well, we don't believe that you should have took these books out. You can't argue that with the Catholic Church, even today. Hell, I just seen a documentary on YouTube where they have a whole bunch of satanic shit in the fucking lower levels of St. Peter's Cathedral in Italy, underneath the goddamn Vatican, underneath the Vatican.
Hey, I will tell you this, bro. As far as the Catholic Church goes,
not Christian shit.
Look, so I'll tell you this as far as the Catholic Church. Me being Mexican.
Everybody know what Christians is. Everybody know the Bible. Everybody know all this shit. We might as well not even talk about that because it's already know it's up in the air. Let's just talk about.
So look, I don't know if you guys being Christian and you know, being devoted Christians. Me being Mexican, you know, everyone's Catholic. I was never baptized and shit. But one thing I always did was read religious books along with occult books. And we talking about the removal of books. Now I want you to understand that they removed the knowledge out of the books. The Catholics did. And you can read Gnostic Christianity was the original Christianity. And it didn't deal with fearing the devil.
You broke up.
Gnostic Christianity is the oldest form of Christianity in the world. And if you read the Gnostic Christianity books, you will see things like the difference between Satan and Lucifer. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this knowledge, but Lucifer is actually in many parts of the Gnostic Bibles and all of this explained to be the shadow self of Jesus Christ, and in the flesh, he was the brother of Jesus Christ. I don't know if you guys know this.
Possible. Lucifer was his son.
Lucifer
was a god. Was one of the sons God.
There's so many fucking stories. What's the really truth?
Exactly.
What's the real truth?
That's what I'm saying. So Lucifer was the son of God, and then Jesus, okay, was put here in flesh to be tested from both sides, the good and the evil. So that's why Jesus was always fighting with that, you know? That's the real story of Jesus.
You cut out, Miss Alice. Can you repeat everything you just said? Because you just cut out a lot with everything you were saying.
Okay, so like Lucifer. Can you hear it now?
I'm going to just go ahead and leave. I'm going to come back later. All right,
okay.
This is getting
bye.
Christian.
She don't want to hear shit about God. I'm sorry, guys. But this is all it is. She don't want to hear shit about God. And
but I mean, you gotta understand, you know.
Our opinions of it.
I'm feeling good. Y'all just bring my mood from here to here to here to there, down, up to there.
Well, it's because you pansexual, so you've dealt with religion in a different way.
No, I grew up Christian. I was very Christian. I used to baptize myself in the bathtub. I grew up, I had to not believe in it no more. So I'm atheist. Bye. Y'all can talk about that. When y'all done talking about that, add me back.
Okay. So what I was trying to say is that if you read a lot of the occult and Gnostic religion, you know, Gnostic Christianity, you find the truth about who the devil really is. And Lucifer is the son of God, as is Jesus. Okay. But it's the counterpart. So on one side you have the counterpart, which is Jesus, and the counterpart to that will be the darkness, which was Lucifer.
Right.
Okay. But that was also only changed by the Catholic Church.
What I heard Diane say, that's why I was confused, because I heard Diane say Lucifer is Jesus' son. I didn't think that was accurate.
No, Lucifer and Jesus are actually brothers. Yeah, Lucifer and Jesus are actually brothers in Gnostic religion. The earliest Christianity is Gnostic Christianity. So what Christianity really thought was about the balance of good and evil in oneself. Yeah. God and the devil live within all of us.
Yeah, it's like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know what I was trying to explain to this homegirl is like when you're using imagery and symbolism that you are using without giving a fuck, that's very irresponsible. Just so you can sell records, that's very irresponsible. So I get that he did it, you know, because people say gays go to hell, but then he took it way over that.
But on some street shit,
right?
On some street shit, that's like a nigga walking around false claim, throwing up sets.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's exactly like that. If you walking around screaming blood and you ain't a blood, how many motherfucking times you think you're gonna be able to do that before somebody run up on you that actually is in that set and they want to check, they check your ass?
Exactly. And like I was saying before, homeboy jumped on right now from Georgia. You know, I used to roll with the cartels heavy style when I was little, and all of my clientele was Hollywood elites. You know, I could name drop right here so many fucking names of Hollywood stars and executives that, you know, were doing drugs and involved in child trafficking and satanic rituals. So that's where it gets me, that he does that irresponsibly, not knowing that what you're really doing at the same time is boosting these motherfuckers up with their symbolism. Exactly. You know, maybe you're ignorant to it. Maybe you're ignorant to it, and your only MO was, because Christians say I'm going to go to hell, so fuck you, I'll push it to you like this. Okay, but then
not realizing there's an undertone to that. There was an undertone to that whole thing that he didn't even realize he had dropped.
Exactly, you know, and it went so far that they put a drop of blood on his shoes, like. Now you're going into the realm of fucking witchcraft and fucking, you know, ceremonial, symbolic ceremony for Satan. You know, and I don't, whether you believe in it or not, it's still a negative thing. You know, nobody has a positive condensation about Satan overall in the world.
You got little kids.
Nobody. And exactly, and then he had all these little kids following him. You think they're going to understand all of this symbolism? No.
Exactly.
You're perverting
they
them.
Don't know. They don't
all
even
you're doing
know.
is perverting them.
You were from Old Town. The kids don't.
Right. That's what I was just saying. That's exactly what I was just saying. You went from Old Town Road to this shit.
Exactly.
Where did we go? What the hell just happened? This was a complete 180 like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
like
man.
This was a complete 180. She bounced out of here. She dipped out and she would have did her whole life because I know she didn't want to hear nothing of that shit. But it just is what it is. We can't. You know what I mean?
You know what happens sometimes when we have discussions like this, people take them too personal. So she had her own experience, you know, with the church and then coming out. So it's like she can't even hear it because it brings her lower frequencies coming in. You know, she starts to feel negative. She starts to take it personal.
But at the same time,
but at
the same time, all this, our whole conversation turned around back to the original conversation. But all this needed to be said.
Fuck yeah,
right. And that's the reason why I brought this conversation up today, because like as we go into the years that we're in 2021, right? Everything's starting to come out. Transgenders, LGBTQ community is being, you know, treated as equals. This is the great thing about it. But what's the negative thing about it? What's the negative thing about it is the promotion behind it that instilled so much more behind it, because now it has gone so far as to add more publication to things. Like, for example, the schools wanting to not allow children to identify their own sexuality until they are 5 years old, and they're still not able to process the meaning of life. Yet you are giving them the option to choose whether they want to be a boy or a girl. This will determine much more things for them later.
Hell no. You born with a dick.
You see what but you see what I'm saying though? This is the kind of thing that it perpetuates along with that. You see what I'm saying? We understand you're expressing your individuality, your own sexuality.
What the fuck is that?
And at the end of the day,
I don't mean to cut you off at all. I don't mean to cut you off. But that, to me personally, honestly, I feel like that's some bullshit. And this ain't no Christianity or no shit like that. This is just me being a man. That's some bullshit. Talking about you gonna let kids decide whether they're gonna be a boy or so. What the fuck? Oh, niggas. So what? Niggas walking around today? You know, it's Woman Wednesday. I'm a woman. I'm gonna wear a dress today. The fuck? No, that shit is wrong.
You see what I'm saying? And Nolan made the perfect example, the perfect comment just now. You need to choose your words wisely. And that statement reigns so true when we talk about celebrities and the way that they reflect things out to the public. You see what I'm saying? Because their ideologies and whatever their concept on this may not be interpreted the same way they delivered it, and they expect people to receive it.
But the thing,
you see what I'm saying? So when you see a video like this and you hear the music, you hear you see the song, you see the video, you hear the song, you start to think like, what the hell was his concept behind this whole thing? Yeah, you hear, oh, it was about, you know, fuck the devil and I'm going to hell because people think I'm going to hell because of my ideology on life and my sexuality, my sexual
But then
preference.
at the end, he breaks the devil's neck and takes his crown.
Right.
You know? Like, what the fuck? At the end of the video, he breaks his neck. And if he's saying fuck the devil, why would he take his crown?
Yes. You see what I'm at?
You know?
If you saying fuck the devil, why would you take that man's crown? Let that motherfucker, let that shit burn with his ass. Now, if you did some shit like that, snapped his neck and set his ass on fire,
that'd be different.
I'd be different.
We'll be able to understand that more.
We'd be able to kind of concentrate a little more on the understanding of what he meant in this video.
Taking the crown is the same thing as sitting on the throne.
Exactly
that's
my
point. That's the point. Exactly.
But you think about it. He also did. It was also said in the video he was lap dancing on the devil.
Yeah, man. This. I haven't seen the whole video, but I've already read enough descriptions of it. That's just wild, man. That's the wildest shit I ever seen on the.
That's what I'm saying. Think about it.
Like I said.
Think about it. I was listening as I was saying earlier in the first hour.
And shit. Back when they had kings and castles and shit like that fighting and shit. When you took over a king's castle, what did you do?
You take the throne. You take the crown.
You sat on the throne. You took the crown.
Exactly.
So there's
no other way to interpret that symbolism.
What I was listening to was the comparison. There was a channel called The Damage Report that I was watching, as I was saying in my first hour earlier on YouTube, and I was watching this, and they were talking about this because Republicans, you know how they're anti. There were some politicians that were against this whole concept of this video, and they were utilizing this as a motivator for their constituents to kind of like get riled up or whatever. But at the end of the day, they were comparing this video to a Madonna video that had been released in recent years, like not even recent years, we're talking years ago, where she was a dark angel or whatever. Yes, we knew back then, but see, the elegance of the whole situation with that particular video is completely different from the idea of what we have just witnessed with this Lil Nas X video.
Think about it. It's different. It's different. It's different.
Right. It is absolutely different. It's completely different as we look at the whole situation as a whole. Because I honestly know for a fact that I grew up, you know what I mean? I grew up in a Baptist church. I don't go to church every day. I don't pray every morning. But at the end of the day, I converted. I'm not into the beliefs of Baptists. I believe in the Hebrew Israelite faith, which goes back to the original book. You know what I mean? The holy, not the Holy Bible, but you know what I mean? The original. You know what I'm saying? The original documents from the home of, you know what I mean, where this conversation came from, or where this particular book came from.
Another thing to piggyback off my point earlier. Like I said, the book, the Word of God is supposed to be everlasting, unchanging. How come there's more version of the Holy Bible?
Right, because it was stolen. It was remarked. You got to think. The original text is in Dead Sea Scrolls. And after the Dead Sea Scrolls, it was translated from that to Greek, from Greek to Latin, and from Latin to English.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it went through all the different worlds. But it went through all of these different groups of people because
if it was all fully translated, but hold on. Listen, hold on. Just let me make this point. If it was all fully translated and it's really supposed to be the Word of God, you still cannot change it.
Oh,
You're right. But then you also have to think of this. You also have to remember this. How about, do you know how old the letter J is?
There was no J in the times of Jesus. His name was Yeshua.
Yeshua, right. There was never a letter J until about 500 years ago. A little more than that.
I thought it was younger than that.
Yeah, it's about 500 years old. It's about 500, a little more than 500 years old.
But I mean, right now we touched on why the Word of God is changed. And
15.
the answer is very simple, man.
I've heard
The answer is very simple on why the word of God has changed. Because man and imperialism, the people the ruling class always change it to see so they could rule over you. They change it and they make a version of it that'll govern over you that is not really the word of God. That's the reason why they've changed.
Think about it though. It's the same thing it's the same concept as, if you think about it, even going into that thought, why do you think we celebrate on Sundays instead of on the actual Sabbath day worshiping God?
Why is that?
Because the Roman Catholic leader, Emperor Constantine, decided to change the day of the Sabbath. The day of the Sabbath was always the last day of the week, which, if you look at the calendar, it is Saturday.
It's Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Because Sunday is the beginning of the week.
Sunday is the first day of the week, right?
Sunday's the first day of the week, yeah.
Right. So thinking about that just think about that whole concept in itself.
That's right. That's why the Hebrews celebrate the Sabbath Friday to Saturday sundown.
Right. They celebrate from Friday sundown
that the first day of the week is Sunday. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man.
And that's why I brought this conversation up, because if you think about it, man, like, this is really like a rabbit hole of shit that we got to think about as we get older. And if we really put the message out there to these young kids, they can understand it ahead of time before it catches them and gets them caught up in some extra shit that they're not ready for. You know what I'm saying? The reason why we have so many misguided people is because the message was perpetuated, and it has been taken out of context so much that they have literally caused the generations in front of us and before us to have recreated imageries of what their concept of order and is. You see what I'm saying? Because if we really look at if we really go into like the context of the whole thing, like, for example, if we were to go into the Torah or the Quran and these three different concepts of the book, they all have a more unified concept. There are different tweak here, tweak there. Concept is still the same. You see what I'm saying? And this was how the Europeans, when they came to America and they colonized America, this was how they controlled the slaves. They used these texts after they had manipulated it to control and create order. Thank you. They used that as a tool to keep the slaves in check.
By Christianity, which was given to us by our oppressors. So
I mean, you could even go back to African spirituality systems, and you will find that it ties into a lot of like Dead Sea Scrolls and shit like that. You will find that, they try to tell the African that he had no God, that we had to come to, Africa, and the white man came with the Bible and saved your soul. But that's fucking bullshit. Africa has always had a concept. Always. A better concept of God. Western Christianity, if you really get into it, it's like, wow, it's the most thing far from Christianity than anything out there.
Western Christianity, Western Christianity is a how can I put this? It's a religion of servitude.
Yeah. It's a religion of suppression and servitude.
You're taught to sacrifice all. You're taught to sacrifice all worldly pleasures, and told that you'll receive all of that again in death.
Right.
Yeah. And it's all based on the concept of fear, devil, and if you don't, you'll go to hell. Your soul won't be saved.
If you don't do this,
that's why I want to go back again to. I recommend you guys read about Gnostic Christianity, which is the original first Christianity. Right after Jesus was murdered, all the disciples that were Gnostic Christians, they had denounced the Jewish religion because of certain things that the Jewish leaders of that time were suppressing and wouldn't let them do. not because they were ashamed of being Jewish. Who would be ashamed of being your own bloodline? Nobody. You know, it was only because of certain things the Jewish people in power, the system of power was doing. It was not handling Judaism as it should be. It was using the word, the law of man instead of the law of Moses and, you know, the commandments.
Right.
But when you read Gnostic Christianity, you're going to find out that they do not deny you of any thing. They want you to understand that if you really want to be godlike, you got to both know that we are of God and know that because we are of the flesh, there is the part of the devil that is in us too. So our mission as Gnostic Christians should be to always check that Lucifer. You know, because it's always going to be.
And you have to.
Lucifer's one thing and the devil is another.
You're supposed to always.
Hence the reason.
Always
the
check
reason why.
Always.
If you think about
there's
it,
a part of us that is Luciferian that wants to just venture and rebel out of certain norms and certain things that make us human or make us spiritual beings. So we as a person, don't fear hell. Fear what's in you. Fear what you can do to others and how you could, you know, hurt others and end up promoting evil. Because that's the real hell.
Because that's
what
really
Gnostic Christianity taught. You know, it was a metaphor.
That's really what it's about.
Y'all hear me on this right here. This is something I was told a long time ago. I was told that heaven and hell are a lot alike. Picture it like this.
Yes, they are.
Picture it like this. Imagine a banquet hall. You feel me? Decked out.
Yep.
Everybody's happy. This is heaven. This is a picture of heaven. Banquet hall.
Right.
Everything decked out. Everybody happy. Everybody eating good. Everybody drinking good. When you sit down at your table, all the utensils 6 feet long. How is everybody? Because everybody's feeding each other.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good analogy.
Everybody's taking care of each other.
Right.
Hell. Banquet hall. Decked out. Everybody's sitting down at the table. Everybody's starving. Everybody's malnourished. Why? Because they got those same 6-foot utensils, but everybody's for self.
Eat themselves.
So nobody can take care of each other. Nobody can take care of themselves. Why? Because you eat with a fork. You got a 6-foot spoon. You can't hold it yourself.
Nope.
But rather than feed the man next to you, feed the person across from you, you worried about self.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, that's a beautiful thought. I agree with it completely. You know, another way that I've heard it is heaven and hell are actually exact opposites. Good and evil. They're exact opposites. You know, and one person I always recommend to try to, you know, understand better Christianity, Western Christianity especially, is Carl Jung. I really recommend everybody read Carl Jung on Western Christianity. And he explains, you know, because Carl Jung was also into the occult. He was raised Christian all his life, but he was also into the occult. And so he read the Dead Sea Scrolls as much as he could. He read the Gnostic Christian books. He read all the books that were taken out of, you know, the Bible. You know, so he really understands.
Right. Now I can dig that because really what you looking at is a mirror image of something of the opposite. Because like what you seeing is the situation flipped over. It's no different. You know what I mean? But in a sense, it is different. It's just you have to be able to determine which side of that coin you want to be on.
Like I said,
he refers to it as the shadow self.
Even in my description, like he said, it's opposite.
It's the same thing.
Everybody feeding themselves. You go down to hell, everybody's starving. Why? Because nobody's feeding each other.
Right.
Everyone's selfish.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. No. What your analogy and what you spoke, it speaks the same exact thing that I'm saying.
Exactly.
It's the perfect analogy that means the same thing.
Like you said.
And it's
so that's why, you know, going back into the whole little Nas shit, that's why I have an issue with it. Like maybe he's just naive and a kid that doesn't really understand But if he does understand, then to me,
Right.
he's committing
Because
something
as we
horrible.
jump back into this whole thing with Lil Nas X, this man, I don't think he understood exactly
Right.
the
I don't think he
concept
understood either, you know,
that
being very
he
young.
really put himself under.
I don't know how this gonna sound, but I pray that he don't understand.
Why is that?
If he understand and he doing this shit,
Then that shit
up.
is evil. Yeah, then that would be evil. I get that. That's for sure. Me too, bro. I get what you're saying.
I pray that he don't understand.
It's true.
If he do understand, and you continue to put that energy out, and you got millions and millions of most of your fan base is kids. So you got
that's my point. That's the biggest issue of it all, right there.
You got millions of people following
right.
you.
Because that's what I was saying. Like, that's what I kept saying along the whole time. And now Joyner Lucas actually touched on that same point when he spoke out about the video, and his response to it was the same exact as what we're talking about now. Think about the image that you are portraying for these young kids, these millions of kids that you just pulled under your wing to follow you and subscribe to your music and all of this shit. You really are setting the precedent for their guidelines to live by. You're telling them that it's okay to go out here and think on this concept as if it is non-consequential. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's just the same as saying with every reaction there is no reaction.
And I ain't gonna lie, I got a lot of little cousins that's younger, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds and shit like that. And I know for a fact, I my little cousins running around here singing that shit, acting like that.
Look, I got a 7-year-old, bruh. I got a fucking 7-year-old, bruh. She sings that song front to back and know every word.
I can't be mad at them for saying the song or knowing the song, but it make me want to fuck him up.
Fuck yeah, dog.
Right.
It goes
because
back
you
to
gotta
like
think the influence that he caused
artists
just
taking
by
responsibility,
that.
yo.
Like,
right.
Like I remember back in the 90s, you know, NWA, the 80s, and then, you know, to ask them all the time, like, hey, what's up with your and that would be, you know, I'm not raising your kids, but that's a
right. Like, for real, like whatever happened to actually speaking about real substantive subjects? Like, if you wanted to make a point, you could have came out with a whole nother concept for that video, and it would have represented the same exact thing. If I'm going to hell, fuck it.
You could have went live on Instagram.
Right. You could have made an announcement live on Instagram before you did that video. Right.
I ain't even talking about doing a video. You could have went live on Instagram. That shit would have went viral. You could have went live on Facebook. That shit would have went viral. You could have took that shit. You could have did an interview on the Breakfast Club. That shit would have went viral. You could have posted a video on YouTube. That shit would have went viral. But no, you put this bullshit ass video out, fucking up. Like I said, I pray to God that he don't, you know, understand that shit. Because if you do, that's fucked up, and it make me want to fuck you up even more. Because you got little kids around this shit. But at the same time, bro, like, come on, bro. You got a responsibility as a public figure, bro.
As a public figure. And that's exactly what I kept saying in the beginning when we were trying to explain to Miss Diane when she was on.
A lot of people get on and rappers be like, yo, bro, I can't handle it. I can't control that. No, motherfucker, you control a lot of shit.
You can control a lot of shit. It's your choice. It's your choice to take that bag or not. If you want to take that bag, you can take. You can say yeah. You can say yeah. I want that bag. Just like if you want to say no to that bag, you can say no to that bag.
Exactly. Jesus did this. Jesus got all the young black boys trap or die. Sell dope. I got it. This is how I got to be where I'm at. I sold dope. But he turned around and told his son, don't do this street shit, take your ass to school.
Facts. See, now this is my final thoughts on it, because we're actually coming close to the top of the hour. But I just want to let y'all. I want to get in on this part of it. I was just having the same conversation similar to this with my cousin. And the concept that we thought on, and this was something that we had came up with. This is just like, all right, for example, you got a girl, right? You know your girl, you can talk your girl into doing anything you want her to do, right? You know how these guys got girls out here selling their bodies, holding their dope for them, all this kind of shit, right? Yeah. Now, why not, instead of doing that, make sure this girl get herself a fucking legit education, legitimately go to school, get a college degree in something that's gonna save your ass later on in life. You go out there and you hustle that dope money yourself and fund her way through college so that when she graduates and gets that good job, like as a lawyer or as a, you know what I mean, as a lawyer, or takes on a position in the Supreme Court where she's running her own law firm or something to that effect, you have portions in it. You get favored in on that situation. Why not think on that level? Because we are too busy thinking about the small chips. The small chips are the bigger picture to a lot of these drug dealers in the street. Now, not all of them.
A lot of people think like this. I need mine now. I ain't worried about it.
Right. And this is where the hang up comes in, because where you start to think about what about now, you forget about later. Yes, we know tomorrow is not promised, but hell, nigga, you can sit here and say that all day long and be 20 years later before tomorrow even comes. Tomorrow never come for you.
I look at it like this right here. Like you said, tomorrow ain't promised, but my nigga, I plan for it.
You see what I'm saying? That's the job. That's your job to do that. Your job is to pray that you go to sleep and wake up tomorrow morning. Yeah. Thank God for the day. Pray for tomorrow.
I'm not saying that, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm living up. I'm going to do everything for today. Shit, tomorrow may never come. You're right, tomorrow may never come.
Facts.
Shit, I plan on it.
Exactly. And look at the concept of this. Do you want to leave tomorrow? Do you want to be gone by tomorrow and this be the history behind you? Because they going to read them books when your ass die. And the man that's going to read them books is going to determine whether you stay up or you stay down.
Exactly.
Because that's think about it, man. Like I was under that same concept, bro. When I was growing up in Atlanta, nigga, I was under that. I was thinking the same pathway as the same niggas on Front Street. Shit, I grew up in Atlanta, right across the street from the goddamn penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? So literally, we seen this kind of shit every day. But the idea that came to me as I got older was, do I want to see tomorrow? Do I want to wake up tomorrow in a place where I don't know and it be like, did I die? Yeah. Where the hell am I? Somewhere you probably shouldn't be right now. But you made these choices back here, and this is why you here. You see what I'm saying? Because when God judges after you pass, they judge for old and new. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the ideology that you have to keep in your head. But these are also the rules that you live by. Because in this Bible that is initially spoken to be the basic information before leaving Earth, all right, which is the the abbreviated words for what the Bible means.
That's the acronym for Bible, B-I-L.
The acronyms for what Bible means. Basically, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you got to keep that in mind. This is the concept that they wanted to drive home. But it's also the concept that if you think about it, it's a universal thing. If it's being universalized, not just in the modern day, but this was what was spoken upon beforehand too. You see what I'm saying? So if we go into that whole thought process of it, man, we have to keep in mind that this really is a guideline in a way that if you pay attention to it, it speaks clearly on what you should be doing and where you should be at in your life. But it also warns you on the other side of town, because it's always going to be one, you know, until the great return where, you know, Jesus' second coming and all of this stuff that they spoke upon in Revelations. then we're still gonna have to acknowledge the fact that there is another side of life, that if you indulge in it, just like you can go up, your ass can go down. You know? So I mean, I'm not speaking to try to, to kind of push religion on nobody, because by far I'm worst person to talk on that level. You know what I'm saying? Dip, what's happening, bruh? I seen you, but I died.
Man, it's a lot,
you know what I'm saying?
A lot of shit, man.
Yeah, but it's just listen, to have a goal, yes, goals and plans are always a positive. And it's the best thing to improving life and making life, you know what I mean, a worth living situation. But there's also a decision that must be made as well. And that decision must determine whether you want to get up that ladder the right way or going the wrong way. Because there's two ways up the ladder. Which way is going to get you to hell faster is the question.